Hello and welcome to Dragon Puppet. My name is Thomas and today we're talking about coins and currency in Dungeons and Dragons. In particular, the famous gold piece. I recently picked up this gorgeous collector's set of Waterdeep coins and it got me thinking about gold, the universal currency of adventurers in Dungeons and Dragons. For most players, it's just a number on a character sheet that we look at whenever we want to buy something. But coins aren't just a measure of wealth. They're items in their own right, and they can be used for more than just buying stuff. And in a game where every bit of weight counts, carrying around thousands of pieces of gold can actually also have some disadvantages too. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, tracking coin weight is boring, but if you start thinking about coinage properly, it will not only improve the immersion for your players, but also introduce some new and exciting gameplay elements. So today we're diving into the practicality of coins in D&D, and some of the more interesting ways they can be used in your tabletop RPGs. I spent the last few days 3D printing gold coins non-stop to show you just how much space gold coins actually take up. So we'll talk about the weight of coins, some of their other uses, and we'll even dig into D&D's lore to find out where all these gold coins come from and how they can bring new narrative opportunities to your game. In D&D, a single gold piece weighs about 9 grams, based on the fact that 50 gold pieces is supposed to weigh a pound. Now, going off the size of the gold piece in the collector's set, it doesn't really make sense that it only weighs 9 grams. In reality, a coin this size, made of solid gold, should weigh more like 55 grams. And even this prop, which is actually made of nickel, weighs 24 grams, which is still more than double what the player's handbook says it should weigh. But 50 gold pieces weighing 1 imperial pound is just an easy way for players to keep track of the weight of large amounts of coins. Maybe gold coins in D&D are not solid gold, and there's some kind of gold alloy with a very lightweight metal mixed in there. This is actually how the ancient Romans minted their coins, and the same kind of process was used in medieval Europe. You could even make it so that gold coins in your world are made of wood and are just coated in gold. That way the weight kind of makes sense. But let's just take the official weight for now. So 1 coin weighs 9 grams. That means that 100 coins weighs 900 grams, which is almost a kilogram. And at 200 coins, you're looking at about 1.8 kilograms, or roughly 4 pounds. Now that doesn't sound too bad, but what if we keep scaling it up? I did a quick survey online to see how much gold players are normally carrying around with them, and it seems like a significant proportion of players are carrying over 1,000 gold pieces at any given time. Now, of course, some of these players are going to be using magical storage to solve this problem. But as a DM, I know that so often players are just lugging around thousands of gold pieces in their bags. If your player is carrying 1,000 gold pieces, that's about 9 kilograms or 20 pounds just jangling around your waist. And that's just the official weight. If we use the more realistic weight of 55 grams per coin, that means 1,000 coins is 55 kilograms, which is about the weight of an average human child. And if you're carrying around, say, 10,000 gold, it just gets ridiculous. Even using the low 9 grams number from the player's handbook, that's still about 200 pounds of weight, which is more than most adventurers weigh. So carrying gold like this isn't just a bit unrealistic, it's basically impossible. Now, of course, most DMs don't force their players to think about how they're lugging all this gold around, but there are ways to make tracking the weight of your coins a little more interesting. Now, before we get too deep into the practicality, let's quickly look at some of the lore. Gold isn't just boring pieces of metal. Gold can tell stories, especially in the Forgotten Realms. Depending on where you are, the coins might look, weigh, and even be shaped completely differently. In Waterdeep, you'll find Harbour Moons, which are large crescent-shaped coins worth about 50 gold pieces each. Cormier's gold coins are famously stamped with the symbol of a lion. And the old Netherese Empire minted triangular coins laced with magic to show their authenticity. This gives DMs a chance to really have fun with the world building. Maybe the treasure that the party get at the end of the adventure is not regular gold pieces, but some gold minted by an ancient lost civilization, and the merchant in the town will actually pay double what it's worth just because it's a cool piece of history. Or maybe the loot you get from fighting the Orc tribe is a bunch of iron coins that nobody in the town is interested in. And in order to get the most out of them, you have to go and trade with another Orc warband, buy stuff off of them. Most players will pretty much ignore smaller denominations of coins like silver or copper, and especially Electrum, which seems to be widely hated by most groups. But if you're running a campaign with a bit of realism, these smaller denominations do have their uses as well. So remember, not every coin has to be gold, and different places will not accept or not mint the same currency as their neighbours. But of course, it's not just a currency. They're items and they can be tools too. Here's some fun ways your party can use coins for more than just buying swords and ale. The first one is distraction. Tossing a fistful of coins onto the floor is a great way to create chaos in a busy marketplace, or distract the guards that are trying to chase you. It's a trope we see in film and TV, and it works just as well in Dungeons and Dragons. It can even be a good use of all those silver and copper coins, because it's still going to send people scrabbling to the floor, and you don't have to worry about how much coin you've lost, because it's just not worth as much as gold. Even if you're not using the value of the coins as the distraction, the noise of the coins is still good, especially in a dungeon where you're trying to distract monsters. Throwing some coins down a corridor will be more than enough to distract and misdirect certain creatures. Another simple utility for coins is as markers or trails. Although the classic breadcrumb trail is good for luring animals, or in this case, small children, if you want to lure a person, leaving a gold or silver coin every few meters is a pretty good way to do it. Even if they know it's a trap, their greed will usually get the better of them. And if it comes to a fight, you can even use coins in combat. A gold piece isn't sharp, but it's still a lump of metal and it can do some damage. Clint Barton and Kate Bishop show off this skill in the Hawkeye TV show. And Bullseye's iconic paperclip scene in the 2003 Daredevil film uses the same principle. Another more situational use for coins in combat is to melt them down and coat your weapons in them, depending on the enemy. In the Forgotten Realms at least, silvered weapons have been known to cause more damage to vampires, devils, wraiths, wights, and pretty much all shape changers. People often forget they carry around a stash of silver in their coin purse pretty much at all times. So if you get caught off guard by a werewolf, don't forget, you can make custom silver weapons with your loose change. Outside of combat, you can even use coins to solve or break some puzzles. Pressure plates sometimes require very specific weights to weigh them down, and that can be pretty tough to come up with on the fly. But once you know that one coin weighs 9 grams, you can weigh down most pressure plates with some real accuracy. Also, some traps or mechanisms that have moving parts like cogs or maybe pipes can be easily sabotaged by just jamming loads of loose change into them. And don't forget the drama of a simple coin flip. Deciding an enemy's fate with a single flip of a gold coin right in front of them is a move that most rogues or bards would love to use to add a bit of extra cinematic flair to a scene, or to get an extra advantage on an intimidation roll. Now, the next bit is for DMs, but players also take note. There can be consequences for hoarding too much gold in your luggage. If your players are walking around with heaps and heaps of gold, make sure they feel it. Here are some tips for the DMs. The first one is stealth penalties. Nothing screams "I'm here" like the clanking of hundreds of gold coins every time you move. Even a coin purse with just 50 gold pieces in it can be pretty loud, unless your players have come up with a clever, creative solution. Now, there's also the encumbrance rules, so you can enforce weight limits for your characters. Now, this is not a popular one, and I know it just seems like a way for the DM to punish players, and a lot of people don't like it. But they say that limitation breeds creativity, and being forced to think about encumbrance can lead to more player immersion, and even more creative stories. If the players have too much, then make them choose what to leave behind. And the last consequence we'll talk about for your players who are carrying too much gold is thieves and bandits. Wealth attracts attention. If the party is visibly loaded, then they're a walking target. A party of 5 people walking through town, each with bulging coin purses jangling around, is an obvious target for every single bandit or thief in earshot. Finally, let's use all my 3D printed coins to see how much space gold coins actually take up. What you're looking at here is 500 gold coins. Obviously, these are props, so they're not the right weight, but they give you a good indication of the space it takes up. There's no way this would all fit in one purse, so either I'm carrying around a dozen purses, or I've got a giant bag of gold jangling at my waist. When the DM says you found a chest with 1,000 coins in it, this is how much your characters need to shift. This much gold is clearly a liability. Adventurers should think of gold as more than just a number. It's part of the story and part of the challenge. So what are some of the best ways you can carry around large amounts of gold? Let's be real, most players track their wealth like this. But when you think about the sheer bulk of coins they're carrying, it's worth reconsidering. Here's some ways you can manage your gold more effectively. The first thing you can do is convert up to higher value coins. A platinum piece is worth 10 gold pieces, so 1,000 gold coins becomes 100 platinum coins. If you're in Waterdeep, you can exchange 1,000 gold pieces for just 20 Harbour Moons, which is much better. And there's even a little hole in the middle so you can thread a string through to easily carry your coins around. You can also trade in for gemstones. Gems are much easier to carry. They come in basically any value you want, and it's much harder for thieves to spend them without getting caught. So if you have an extra 3,000 gold pieces weighing you down, head to a jeweler and buy a single gem worth 3,000 gold pieces. It'll be much easier to carry. You can even hide it on your person if you're in a dodgy neighborhood. And if you're really clever, you might be able to sell it for more than what you paid for when you get to the next city, depending on how good of a salesperson you are. The next thing you can do is to stash your surplus. Once you start getting really rich, it's worth depositing some of your excess wealth. Now, banks aren't really a thing in the Forgotten Realms, but there are a lot of fantasy settings that do have them. But even without banks, you can still find a trusted friend in a city who has a house, and they can just tuck some gold away in one of their cupboards for you. Or the old-fashioned way, you can just get a chest, stuff it with gold, and bury it somewhere in the woods. Just make sure you remember where you left it, maybe make a map, and make sure there's no adventurers nearby who are just going to dig it up as soon as you've left the area. And of course, magical storage is a solution. Things like the bag of holding or a portable hole are great solutions, but just be warned that obviously if you lose the one bag of holding, you've lost everything inside it. So even if there's somebody in your party who likes to carry all the wealth, spread some of it around just in case that person goes missing or something horrible happens to them. You need a backup. For me personally, gemstones are the way to go. Why carry around 1,000 gold pieces when I can carry one little gem worth 1,000 gold pieces, and I can hide it in my shoe or something, and then I can walk through the dark streets of Baldur's Gate and not worry about getting mugged because I'm not carrying loads of coins and nobody's going to look in the sole of my shoe for a gem. So if your players are lugging around thousands of gold pieces, send them this video to show them what that actually looks like and give them some ideas about how to better manage all their wealth. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this more practical look into adventuring. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. That way the algorithm can send you more content like this in the future. And let me know in the comments what's the weirdest way your party has used gold. By the way, for those interested, printing off all these gold coins cost about £30. It was about 2 spools worth of gold filament. And don't worry, they're not going to get wasted or thrown away. I'm going to use them in some future campaigns as props with my players. So looking forward to that. And if you want to give it a go yourself, I've left a link to the spool I used in the description. And there's also some links to some 3D coin models that you can download and try yourself. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.